All right, it's me again. What are we going to talk about today? Bit of a talking video, really, talking head video. I've done a few. I want to know what you guys think as well. Um, I think we'll start off. So I'll give you a little bit of an idea of where this is going. To be honest, I don't know how many years have you been in the RC? Much, long? How long have you been in it? Me, um, since about 1982, so quite a few years, on and off. Um, you can probably, if you came to where I am and looked at what I've got here and in the shed, you'd realise that I'm a bit of a fan. Um, but I just want to see what you guys think, why we do what we do. I think I can speak for a number of you guys out there. You know, I'm not 20. I'm into my 50s by, I'll say, some margin. Um, Getting on for mid 50s, which I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'd have guessed that.
And it seems that a lot of the RC world, especially YouTube, it seems to have like exploded on the radio controlled car scene. Um, I mean, how many do you watch? I mean, I watch an absolute ton, and I sit there and watch all the channels that I not all the channels, but I think all the channels that I know of. There are some that I don't watch, and it's not because I don't think they're any good. There's too many. I've got enough time in the day. I spend enough time staring at the computer as it is when I get home from work. So yeah, but there's a number of channels I watch. I'm speaking personally here from, there's been a lot of older people, I should say, that have just started their YouTube journey for all different reasons. It tends to stem from like things, for example, the recent Poor Boys RC Speedrun Challenge. And of course, if you do any of those speedruns, you've got to have a YouTube channel. You've got to have a way of displaying your speeds and what your achievements may or may not be. So having an account is something that you've got to have for authenticity, I guess. And it's easy to, because a lot of people now are on YouTube, and whether they do it as a business, whether they do it for fun, whether they just sort of plan around, and you know, filming various bits and pieces throughout their life, it's a good way of gathering that information. So there's been a lot of people that perhaps, like myself, well, not so much like myself, but I think there's a lot of people out there that, and I'm sort of aiming at people at my sort of demographic age, sort of between sort of mid 40s, maybe into well, not maybe, I know for a fact some of them are in sort of into the 60s. Is that sort of bracket, the older generation, if you like. This is what it's aimed at. So a lot of people would have dabbled with YouTube for the very first time, or since the previous speed run challenge in 2024. So it sort of brings people together. So a lot of the channels I watch kind of stem over the year from those guys. And there's the obvious ones, which I'm not going to ramble on about here, but there's about three or four, maybe five of established YouTube channels which dedicate their time towards RC, and they do a very good job. Everyone has an opinion on what is entertainment. I'm not there to judge that. It's that everyone does a good job at YouTube, and I particularly like looking at the really small. I'm a small channel, so let's not get carried away, Dean. Let's keep it real here. Yeah, but some of those smaller channels which have like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one now. I can't remember the name off the top of my head of your channel. So, but a typical size of just has got like 30 videos and like under 50 subscribers or under 100 subscribers. And I watch those channels and I think, because I can totally relate to what they're doing at the time. It feels surreal. I could see myself doing what they do, and that's why I watch if you're one of those channels watching this channel, then I watch your channel. I subscribe to many RC channels, but you can feel I don't know, there's two things. You can feel the passion, the excitement, the dread, the fact of talking into a camera, which I'm not saying that I'm any good at it, but I can tell you now that when I first looked into a camera, whether it be the one I've got here, which is on my computer, or there's one on the, not one on my phone, it is what it is. But just talking, I don't know, weird. I find talking into a camera a bit stressful because I don't run a script, and it kind of shows up on my videos. I know a lot of people would say, maybe you should run a script or have an idea. You probably should, but well, not you probably should. It'd probably make a lot of difference to my to a video if you did. And the reason I can't actually, the reason I don't is not because I can't be bothered. It's because I don't see myself as a YouTuber or an influencer. Absolutely not. I don't know why I don't, but all those other channels, and we're talking about the bigger channels, influence me to do what I do. It's a catch-22. But if you're from that age group between, I'm not sort of specifying in particular, but between that 40 and 60 bracket, even outside that slightly, I'm interested in everybody's view. What what gets you in front of the camera to do your YouTube videos about RC, and where does the passion from RC start, and has it ended for some people? Have you sort of decided that that's enough? I'm going to sell it all, or I didn't have that much to start with, and I'm pursuing other interests. For some reason, since the re-release saga of anything, and I think the companies seem to have latched onto this demographic age group. For anyone that's from back that can remember RC models from back in the 80s, I'll just say the 80s, the proverbial 80s, and the 90s, isn't it? So I always talk about the 80s, but when I hear people talk, it sort of spans 80s to 90s. So that segment of a radio controlled car, I'm not going to get into any politics here about other stuff, but that part about 80s and 90s, I think that was a very influential time. Time what? Time?
Time span. Span. Spam. Not spam. Time span. Just put it back in the video.
Yeah, cheers for that. Span. Time span. Everybody seemed to grow up in that era, from teenage through to perhaps, mid 20s to late 30s and onwards. And I think the sort of my passion comes from that era. I want to know where does your passion come from? Is it the same era? What I mean, if I speak for myself, but I'm also speaking to you, because everyone's different, and this is the thing with YouTube. I'm sat in front of a camera talking to the camera, but you could be talking to thousands of people, if you're a sort of a reasonable sized channel and people watch. So do people out there still go on about the old days in radio controlled cars? Is Yeah, you can go back a bit further, and people think it was much better then. But it was in its infancy then, wasn't it? I mean, some of that Tamiya stuff came out in the 70s, late 70s. But the sort of the creme de la creme is for racing RC cars, buggies, whichever way you want to go it. I would say sort of late 80s to mid to late 90s, mid to late. Once you get into 2000, I know there's decent buggies and cars and things that are collectible, but from 2000, even that's a long time ago, isn't it? I mean, 2000 is like 25 years ago, and so that should be like an era. You know, if something came out in 2000, and we're 2025 now, 25 years. That's a long time. That's frightening. I must be older than what I think I am. No, I'm not. No, let's be serious for a minute. So everyone's got their own niche, but what do you keep buying RC stuff? Are you like me and I just buy it? I mean, it's not because all right, mate, you've got a lot of money.
Uh, I haven't. I haven't got a load of money. I mean, you can see behind me, most of my stuff spent in radio control car models or anything like that. But I wouldn't say I've got a load of money.
Okay, maybe it's surplus cash. Look, there is perhaps as we get older, we have a bit more surplus cash. Now, any hobby, and it could be, it could be anything, couldn't it? People have all sorts of different hobbies, from like really cheap hobbies. If I'd argue that if there's such a thing as a cheap hobby, maybe there is. I mean, there probably is. To a really expensive hobby, which there definitely is, and I've sort of covered quite a lot of that in my life. Between a relatively cheap hobby becomes expensive, so I find myself buying radio control cast bits off all auctions, websites, shops, abroad. I can't help myself. Do you do that? I mean, have you got like an abundance of stuff that you're probably never going to use? I mean, I don't know. I have. Hopefully I'll use it, but I tend to think of things to buy to produce content that people like yourself might actually enjoy. And it's a bit of a vicious circle. That if you've watched my channel, you'll know that it's not the main reason, but one of the reasons I do my channel, and it's different now from when I said it even 6 months ago, is my dad's very ill, so he used to watch me on YouTube because he doesn't live that far from me, but he can't get here. He's pretty much bedbound from being, over the last maybe 10 years, but from being very active, mechanical, racing, always fixing stuff. A typical dad in my eyes. Um, Completely to the exact opposite of that. So I did my channel. I started it up for mainly, one is influenced by others. Two, so my dad can see what I do, because I wouldn't say he was interested in RC, but he was very fundamental in my beginnings of RC, at least, and subsequent racing and so on and so forth. But he doesn't really watch anything now. I don't think he's watched one of my videos for a long time. But I've now got onto this sort of habit of, and I'm not knocking it, but it's a habit where I buy things thinking somebody out there like yourself would want to watch. Um, that's why I don't really have a script, because I don't look at it as I'm going to do YouTube to make loads of money so that I can be rich and stay at home and get paid for playing with radio control cars. I wouldn't even say that's a dream, because I'm a bit of a weirdo like that when it comes to. I mean, I think if I just break off there for a minute, if I stem back to my youth, and my ethos hasn't really changed, although I'm quite what's the word I'm looking for now? I'm not going to go to the phone for this, so that whoever that is can stay away. But for example, when I was a teenager, I'm digressing, but I'll get back to the point. When I was a teenager and everybody went out to work, I didn't, because I was so lazy. I didn't want to work. I couldn't be bothered, but I wanted money. So, and I wasn't lucky enough for my parents to have money, but occasionally I got pocket money. But I sort of started work at 17, so I sort of came out of college and went straight to work. It was quite easy back then, and shall I touch wood, or I touch my head? Should I? All that's wood. touch wood, I've not been out of a job as such, even though I've been made redundant a few times. Twice, I haven't been out of a job all my life. So I've always paid my way. Hang on, where was this going? Oh yeah, that was it. I got so sidetracked then on what I was doing in my previous life. I've always sort of progressed through my jobs and did as best as I could. I was never really a skiver. I hated being sick. Phoning in sick was and I had to do it a few times when you're ill, but I wasn't one of these people that think, I'm going to ring up and phone up because I can't be bothered. If it got to that stage, time to move jobs, isn't it? In today, but ultimately, I've always thought if I do the lottery or the pools or if I anything and win loads of money and live off the interest, I mean that was my and that is my. It is so unrealistic, but that's my dream. Idiot. But so to make YouTube pay for my life, it's just that's not part of my goal. That's not if that did happen, great, But definitely that's not why I do YouTube. There's many people out there that's why they do it, and there's loads of people out there that get paid thousands of pounds for doing what they love doing. Brilliant. I wouldn't say I'm jealous. It's more because it's a lot of work, isn't it? Doing a YouTube channel. This has sort of progressed into RC and YouTube, but it does sort of cross over, doesn't it? But yeah, so my kind of goal is not really to sort of think, oh, do this to pay for it to earn money so I can stay at home. That's not really, and I probably wouldn't be able to stay at home anyway because I'll probably get bored. Even though I've got all these RC stuff, to do it 24/7, I'm not so sure. When a hobby becomes a job, things can change slightly, can't it? That's been the only advice I will give to you guys listening. So yeah, I hear quite often with YouTube channels people mentioning about, oh, we only earn this much a month, we earn that much. And it's usually only the people that don't earn a lot which audibly say, that's what I earn. Well, I could quite confidently sit here and tell you I've earned nothing. I've earned nothing out of any video I've ever produced because I don't have enough watch time. But even if I did have watch time, it wouldn't matter because I don't do it for the money. But there's people out there that are striving for it all the time, and I don't know if they must enjoy it, but if it's I don't know, it's a real weird thing to be in, isn't it? I still think I would rather have money and not work. I would probably still do YouTube, but because I have a bit more time to do it, but I wouldn't dedicate my life to it. I would just do it for fun and to connect to like-minded people. But the problem is, at the moment, you might say, well, you've got money. Well, I've got money because I earn, but I'm working full time and I do a bit of YouTube. I sort of try and do a video a week, which is quite hard work sometimes because you just can't always dedicate the time to do any recording. And it doesn't end there, does it? It's all the other stuff that goes with it. And that creativity, that's another thing. How many out there are you creative? Do you find that you're creative? I find anyone that's in my niche. So I'm from a mechanical engineering racing background, right? So it's not unusual. And I'm only speaking from what I see, but I'm not very creative. I never have been. Some people can come up with a really good idea and it works. But I've always found the circles that I've moved in, people that are creative don't race cars or race RC cars. The creativity of those that talk about it. There's always a saying, isn't there? So those that can't win talk about it. I don't know. There's something in the racing background that I remember it buzzing around in the pits. Those that can't win talk about it. If you can win, you don't have to say anything. I don't know. There's a metaphor there somewhere. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we'll move on. This is my point. Making um, videos that people watch all the way through, that in itself is almost, I say almost impossible. No, it's not impossible because I watch other people's videos all the way through. But then again, sometimes I don't do that. I sort of flip between content creators, if you like, for a different sort of take on things. But I mean, I'd be really good if I could hear from some of the Poor Boys RC speedrun contestants, if you like, from 2025. And I know some of you guys out there, because I speak to you on your channels quite often. You know, you comment and I comment back because I think oddly enough, although you're on usually the other side of the world, you've got quite a lot in common, and I find that quite amazing because you don't know you from Adam. Well, we do know Adam. Adam, we do know you from the RC world. Adam's Playground. Although he doesn't know you personally, but I watch. That's another one I watch quite often. Um, but it's interesting, I find having that people all around the world having the same. Oh, don't hiccup. The same passion. If we all got together in an area, it would be mostly. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? If all the YouTubers, like, I think I'm actually being more specific here. All the YouTubers that I watch, which is a bit selfish, but the RC YouTubers, if you all got together in a central location and I don't know, I wouldn't say stand up on stage and introduce yourself, but maybe have a gathering where you this is completely hypothetical, like an outdoor marquee, like an event where you can meet like-minded people. It's almost like a date site. Oh, you never know. Um, that you can get chatting to these people because you're going to have so much to say. But what I do find, this is a personal opinion here, I think, generally speaking, as we got older, a lot of people like to talk about themselves. And I think the key thing, I mean, I would say that I'm a pretty good listener. In fact, I'd rather listen to people than talk about myself. Funny enough, that's why you do a YouTube channel because it's only me talking to a camera. At the time, no one's listening. But I think if I had that marquee and all of us in there, all of us as in the channels that I watch, I'm pretty sure we all watch similar channels, um, and having a little get together, not necessarily around RC, but maybe have an RC track. Oh, I don't know. What am I talking about? It's never going to happen. Stop talking. But do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. I think that would be quite good. Yeah, so just to summarise, it started off with what got you into the RC hobby and why do you still continue, and do the re-releases make you even more into the hobby? I mean, are you like me? I just cannot stop buying stuff. What is wrong with me? Or have you gone through the hobby back in the day and now you've grown out of it and you sort of dabble here and there? Are you a YouTuber? And I'm specifically talking to the smaller channels here. Anyone that's, I don't know, I wouldn't like to put a figure on it. Like anyone that's, as far as like subscribers, I don't know, small channels. I mean, people with 40 and 50k subscribers call themselves small. I think that's ridiculous. That's just gloating. That moan to gloat thing. But oh, I don't know. Maybe 10,000 subscribers is small in YouTube land. It probably is. But so anyone from like 4 to 10,000. I mean, I'd love to be at 10,000. But they're relatively small channels. But if you're more realistically like where I am, 1,600, 1,700, 2,000, 3,000 subscribers. If you're near there, what motivates you? I mean, do you do it because you want to get rich, or do you do it because you enjoy doing it, or you hoping to become rich out of it, or is it just a bit of fun? It's a bit of fun. I do like documenting what I do. That is quite interesting. I find that quite good fun. Originally it was from my dad, so he doesn't. My mum doesn't watch it. She doesn't even know I do this. And my dad's, he can't really do a lot now. And I've probably got people out there that do watch me that I know, but they don't say anything. So maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe they're embarrassed for me. I don't know why. I mean, I am just talking to you. That's all. Sat here in my spare room on my racing rig, Fanatec racing rig. Got my wheel here, my screen. I used to do that as well, but that's a bit of a faff, innit? Gaming. I do enjoy my sim racing, PC and consoles. Anyway, that's that. So that's my talking head video. We haven't got that sidekick at the moment. Opinionated. I'm quite opinionated as well, so we'll move on. But let me know your thoughts. It'd be nice to hear from anyone out there that's in a similar boat as me. And also, before I go, what do you think about raffles? I don't know. I'm torn between that. I think they probably do work, but I'm pretty sure if I did a raffle, you'd only get like 4 entries and you'd be out of pocket. £4, you've got to give a car away. If you've got a bigger channel and they say still small, but if you've got 35 or 40 subscribers or 50 50. Do you see what I mean? No script. What I meant to say is 45,000. Forgot that bit out. 50,000. If you've got that many subscribers and you did a raffle, you're going to get, I wouldn't say 50,000 of people doing entering that competition, but you're going to get a small percentage of that, which makes it more viable, doesn't it? If I raffled something, I might as well just give it away to anybody that says, can I have it? Yeah, there you go. In fact, that'd be a lot cheaper, so I wouldn't have to set it up, would I? But there could be a raffle soon, because to digress, when you see this video leading up into September, I've got like a series of videos about the Tamiya TA series chassis, specifically TA01 and 2. So there'll be some more videos of me. But I've inadvertently won another auction, which I didn't really want, but I say that I wanted it, but I'd forgotten that I bid and I won it, and it's going to be due here in a couple of weeks anyway. So, and I'll probably do a video on that particular chassis, but with the idea that maybe raffling it off to one of you guys out there. I don't know. I hate using the word guys. Do not use that. Viewers, raffling it off to one of you viewers or listeners. I don't know. What do you think? Do you enter raffles or any sort of giveaway with any of the YouTubers? I don't know. The reason I don't is because I don't want to give anything away. I don't want anyone to have it for free, as I've paid for it. And let's not get started on free stuff, because there's so many videos out there of people justifying everything. I'm not even going down that route. I've got an opinion, as I usually have, but let's leave it there. Let sleeping dogs lie, as the saying goes. Right, enough already. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you about this subject. Radio control cars, re-releases, the 80s and 90s, older people, jobs, money, YouTube, raffles. Unscripted, of course. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I shall see you very soon. So, bye-bye for now.